Sorry to wake you up early, sweetheart. I heard you like to have your beauty sleep.
Welcome to another episode of Plugged In. This is my first episode of the year, so I feel good to be back. First off, I want to say thank you for everyone who's been patient for us for just sticking around while we haven't really been releasing any content whatsoever, except for one episode earlier this year where Trystan picked up the slack and actually interviewed someone. Congratulations, Trystan, for actually doing something.
Wow, make it sound like I don't do anything.
No. I mean,
I do most of the work.
As comparison to me, who didn't do anything, is what I'm saying. But so you interviewed Vox Voicus, and it sounded like that went really well. So thank you for picking up the slack, and I was just not doing anything as usual. So anyway, the point is, we're very happy to welcome back one of our only recurring guests so far. And he's a super talented guy. He's in a band that is going through a lot of changes right now. But we're going to talk about all that. And we're very excited to have him back on. Nick Raya from the awesome band Amarionette. Welcome, Nick.
Thanks, buddy. How you doing? It's Raya, by the way, baby.
Oh,
Raya. No Raya.
Right.
I've had that growing up my whole life. We all talk about that. It's hilarious. My family and stuff. Oh, that's funny.
Oh, man. I wish I had remembered that.
No, it's all good, man. How you guys doing?
Pretty good. It's early, but I was out late, so I didn't really sleep, but that's no worries. I don't usually sleep anyways. No, it's not your fault.
All my fault, man.
No, I was
terrible guy.
I was having a date actually, but we won't get into that.
Ooh, we should talk about that. That's
Alex should have been prepared. Alex should have been prepared and known that he had an interview today. He should have told his date, no, I have more important things to do. I have to go home and interview Nick Raya from Amarionette.
To write my notes.
Listen, did the date go well?
It did, actually, yeah.
That's all
she's
that
really
matters, dude.
Yeah.
I'm a proud papa, okay? That's all that matters. Good for you.
Thank you. So anyway, the last time we had you on, man, was like back in September, actually. We had you and AJ and Ron on the show, and I'd say a decent amount has changed in the band since September. Would you say so?
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, there's been a couple little things, and we're going to talk about that. So when we had you guys on, I think Modern Disco had either just dropped or was about to come out, and that was like sort of the beginning of a bit of a shift in your guys' sound, I would say, and it was received really well, I think. Like, people love that song, and I love that song, obviously, and now it's the theme music for this podcast, actually. So
that's so cool. Thanks for doing that, by the way.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you for giving us that instrumental. That instrumental is so tight. Like,
yeah, man. I thought it was it's weird to listen to it like instrumentally because I mean, we're gonna touch on it anyways, but like as soon as I got it back, the instrumental version, I was like, this would be a really good idea for anyone who's auditioning for the lead vocal spot, to have them record Modern Disco. So like if it weren't for Alex and you asking for the instrumental version, I probably wouldn't have did that. So now we have a different version of Modern Disco with a different vocalist. It's actually pretty cool. So
nice.
Yeah.
So that's probably the best segue we can get into. So the big major change for the band since Alex had you on last time was you guys have lost Quin. So do you want to kind of talk about that?
Yeah, definitely. I'm not going to get like too crazy personal or anything like that, but yeah, so long story short, in the last year, I want to say 9 months to a year, Quin has been in Alaska. He's been in a relationship out there, And I'm sure, as you guys know, it's hard to function as a small band as it is, even when all the members live out here, when you or live in the same spot, even when you're working full time, or just when you have other things to do, when you're not just a full time touring band, it makes things difficult as is. So when you have a member that not only lives in another state, but like, not even technically on the same continent, it makes things very hard to successfully operate, right?
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, it was, you know, for lack of a better term, it was a real bitch to even like get demos back from him. And we before I guess even back in September when we last interviewed, we were very inspired. We had this whole idea for the new album that we were going to do. And I mean, we're still using a lot of that material because it is really good. But we had this entire plan, and then we were under the impression that Quin was going to be back at some point, and he never. That didn't happen. He's still there, and if he's happy, we're happy for him. Like he's doing well out there, I'd imagine. And I mean, we talk from time to time. He's busy, and we're busy, and there is a time change and all that. And I don't wish the dude any ill will or anything like that, but it was we had to let him go. We were basically forced to let him go. Among other things, that was the big thing. That was the biggest thing. All the other stuff we were trying to work with him on, and I don't know how personal I can get. I don't know what else I should say as far as that stuff goes, but this not just that, but it was something that we had talked about. Me, Ron, and Justin, and AJ have talked about for a good couple years on and off, that we were gonna possibly do something else. But it wasn't personal. It was just sometimes people have different ways of operating, and Quin didn't really operate with us the best at times. He's a great vocalist. I would even go as far as like to say I've never worked with a better studio vocalist than Quin. Like, Quin came up with some really cool ideas, and he had a very unique voice, and he could really sing his ass off in the studio. But we did have our troubles live, and that was always a battle with Quin, talking to him about those issues. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a little bit of a difficult subject to talk about, but that was the big thing for us. It was always a fight when it came to the live show. The four of us had a vision. He had his own separate vision, and it definitely made things difficult for us.
So I would say, like, a lot of times when these splits, like a vocalist leaves a band or what have you, like, people, they just put out like a generic statement of like creative differences, and that can be a lot of things. So would you say that like musically you guys were somewhat on the same page, but it was just all these other like more how to function, issues of how to function, how to run the band, how to...
Correct. Yeah, they're like I said, to an extent, like, yeah, it is like a creative difference, because the live show is its own art in a sense, right? Mm-hmm. But musically speaking, like, pretty much we were pretty much always on the same page. I would have some vocal ideas or something, or I'd be like, I really like the majority of the song, but can you change this? Like, let's work on this. Even with Quin, he would be like, I really like this part. Can we make a better chorus, or can we add a chorus? He always had really good chorus ideas. And he knew how to build songs. And Quin was like a really good drummer himself too. So he even helped Justin creatively with a lot of Justin's writing. And so things were always fine on that end. But yeah, man, the live show, it was always just, there was always some sort of creative difference there, and it was just, I don't know, we always, the four of us, try our best, even if sometimes it is a little unrealistic, we just wanted to sound spot on, like the record. You know, people when they come out to see you, they want to see a show, yeah, but we also feel like they want to hear us as best as we can be, right? And I think Quin struggled with that. And how do I say this without sounding like an asshole? Because I don't want to sound like I'm badgering him or anything like that. I think Quin did his best, and he cared, but he struggled to be consistent. There were things that he could have done to be more consistent in the live show, and he did work on that. He did try, but Quin put a lot of stuff on his plate, and I think it definitely interfered with his mindset and how much he could actually put into wanting to change and being able to stay consistent with those positive changes for the show. I hope I put that.
Right, yeah. I think when you're trying to like improve like any sort of like talent or art form or whatever, like you have to give like that 100%. And like you said, if you're having so many other things that you're trying to manage and juggle at the same time, I think it's difficult to really improve in that way and focus on that one thing you're trying to improve on.
Correct. Yeah. But I'm not trying to like bash the dude. Like he texted me actually. He texted me yesterday, to congratulate us on, finding a new vocalist and all that. And like Spencer is a friend of his, so like they were actually in a band together for a couple months. So it's interesting. But yeah, we'll talk about that. I'm sure.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. So I guess that's really a good transition into. So, let's say like right after you guys made the decision to, part ways with Quin, right? And that decision had been made. Like, did you guys sort of already have ideas of what you were looking for in a vocalist or what you wanted to do going forward, or was it kind of just like blank slate? We're just gonna start from scratch and figure out what we're gonna do, for going forward, basically. Like, did you have sort of a plan, or was it just like we're gonna figure out as we go?
Dude, I think I had like a million plans going on in my head, because we could do anything that we want to do at this point. Like there was no set standard, there was no rule. I guess we could go in any direction that we wanted to. So the first thing that popped in my head, I was like, man, if I was a fan of a band, what would I want to see, and what would I think is really cool for fans, and what would make me happy as well. And I was like, well, there's a bunch of vocalists that I like, that I'm friends with, that I could probably get to do features with, or whatever. And I was like, well, like, fuck it, like I'll hit up a bunch of my friends that I think are really good and that are in the industry, and see if they would want to collaborate. So the first person I talked to immediately was Andrew Wells from Idola, and he was super down. And Kurt Travis, Andreas, all these dudes are all my, we're all friends, and they all like Amarionette, and we've all been doing this for a really long time. And they basically all agreed to do something. Like we're not doing this EP anymore. We had this whole idea of doing an EP with a bunch of different vocalists until we found a vocalist, because we didn't intend on finding somebody so soon. But yeah, so that was my first idea, was I'm gonna get a bunch of people that I know and just do a bunch of different tracks and a bunch of different style tracks, because we had all these different styles of songs recorded, and I thought it would be appropriate to have like whoever matched the song the best could sing it, I guess, or have the final cut.
Right. Yeah, and I think the at least the happy consequence of that was you guys still put out that killer single with Andres, Charm, which I think turned out great.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you, man. That one that was very unexpected. Like the song that he chose, that was one of the songs that we didn't expect to even make the album. So when he did that, it was like, whoa. It was just really cool.
Yeah, that one feels kind of like he definitely brought his own like style to it, but yeah, it still feels like an Amarionette song. It doesn't feel like a song he would have necessarily written for his own stuff, and that's what I think made it really cool. It was definitely like, sort of like a fusion of your guys' styles in a way that worked really well.
I agree, and it wasn't like super funky, like the other two singles, the last two singles that we released with Quin, Modern Disco and Chemistry. But it definitely, I still think it carried over some of that sound with all the synths and that 80s kind of retro, I guess, new wave 80s funk, I guess.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but like harmonies on that song kind of felt like something you could hear in that era, I think, and I think that carries over into like some of the newer stuff as well. Like what he came up with as well was pretty cool with the vocals on that track. So.
Thanks, man.
Trystan, what are your thoughts on that Andres collaboration?
I thought it was dope. I honestly haven't listened to it too much. I just got a lot of music on my plate, but from what I have listened to, like the multiple times that I thought it was really dope. It was really cool kind of seeing Andres in a little bit different style than he generally tends to stick in.
Right. Yeah, a lot of people that I've seen like on YouTube and stuff keep comparing it to his old band, Terra Alive. I guess it was kind of like similar style music. I mean, I never really listened to them until I saw the comments. And I was like, oh, I'll check this out. And it is a little similar to what he was doing in the past. But I love that dude. I love that dude's music. He's special, I think. I think he's really going to do something.
Yeah, he definitely has the potential to go really, really far.
Yeah, he's a good dude. He overall good, solid guy, very talented musician. You need more people like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think when you come out like right off the bat with like his first like actual solo release was Strange Memories on This Nervous Night, and that was like immediately such a strong start to his like solo project, and I think like just coming off that strong shows like real potential.
Yeah, man, like he hit us up last June to do that tour that we did with us and Kurt, and I was like, who is this kid? Like hitting us up to tour. I just figured it was like, just a local act that had never done this before, and then Kurt was like, oh no, that dude is badass. Like, go tour with him. And I was like, really? I was like, okay. And we ended up setting up that tour, and it was awesome. And man, he's legit. I really, really like Andreas' stuff. I've been banging that song Self-Aware for a while now, since it came out.
Mm-hmm.
It's really good.
Yeah,
singing.
that song is so good, so good.
It's so catchy. It drives me crazy. I love it.
I actually just recently saw him play Slide Bar, and he closed out with Self-Aware, and basically the whole crowd kind of got super into it. Like his guitarist tripped over the drum set, Andres took out half the drum set. Like it got crazy.
Oh, you were there? That's funny, dude. I saw those pictures of Danny like all over the drum set. Those.
Yeah, it was funny because at the end, like they finished the song, and Elijah just kind of pushed over like his snare, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm part of this too." Like,
yeah, that's funny.
So you guys mentioned how you collaborated with like Andres, right? And did you actually end up recording anything with like Andrew or any other vocalists, or was it kind of just like in the planning stages?
We got a demo back with Andrew the same time that we got a demo back from our new vocalist, and we sent him the same song, the one that I actually just sent you.
Right.
And I was like, well, we could either, release this with Andrew and have it be like something separate, like like the collaboration EP, and kind of continue to run with that, or we have this, the same song with the potential new vocalist, and we can kind of just continue to move. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As opposed to like, here's something on the side, like.
Yeah, that totally makes sense.
I just think it would be smarter to run with what we've got with the new vocalist. I texted Andrew the other day and I told him that we weren't going to do a collaboration EP thing anymore, and he totally gets it. You know, like it's expensive to just keep paying people and have totally separate mixes, like have a bunch of single mixes and then release it as a as a catalog. It doesn't. It makes sense, like if you can do it, but I think we didn't expect to find a vocalist this fast. So
Gotcha.
that was really the game changer.
Gotcha. So talk to me a little bit about that. Did you audition like multiple vocalists for like a permanent position? Like what were you looking for, first of all? Like did you have like something in mind that you really wanted from a new singer, and how were you able to find that?
Like I touched on before with Quin, we really wanted somebody that we felt that could represent our music live. We felt, the vocals, there was always some sort of struggle with the live music and vocals. We'd always hear that the music was on point, but vocally it could be better, right? Live anyway. Like it never sounded like the record, and we would always hear that. And we haven't toured a whole lot, so I know that may sound like harsh or even insensitive, but when you take it, I don't want to sound like a douche, but when you take something seriously and like you're putting your heart and soul into it, and you're spending all this money and just you're trying to not I don't know, when it's just a passion project, and when you put everything that you have into something, and to hear the same message every single night, like the vocals don't sound like the album, like Quin's struggling tonight, like it's just like, you know what, we don't want to hear that anymore. So the biggest thing is for us was having somebody that we know can just sing their ass off live and in the studio. So when we got the so it started off with I didn't really think Andreas was going to be a long-term thing, and we had kind of talked about it a little bit. There wasn't a whole lot of discussion. It was just like, if I basically let him know, like, if you want to do anything else in the future, you let me know. Like, I'm all ears. I'm open, But he's busy, and I already knew it wasn't going to be his thing. I definitely was very interested in Andrew from Idola, and he also does his stuff in DGD. But with Andrew, he's super busy with those two things, So Amarionette would just be a very side project, I guess. And we had kind of even talked about just doing that, like having Amarionette be like a really small project and not really doing much anymore, and just like kind of like when we can. Which to an extent we're not doing like crazy tours at the moment, because we haven't gotten any offers since Quin's been gone, but we did have some offers when he was still in the band and whatnot. But anyways, we decided that we would want somebody that we can work with a little bit more consistently than Andrew would be able to give us, just because of his schedule. And then we got this demo back from Spencer, who was actually in a band with Quin before, and I don't know if you guys ever heard of his project, Reckless. Spencer played guitar, and he was a background singer, but he actually has been in multiple bands out here in Vegas. And I was always a fan, I always thought Spencer was a really good vocalist, but he never did anything that I was particularly into. And he hit me up, and he was like, I'd love to, audition or, be a part of that collaboration EP or anything, basically. And I was like, well, I'll send you these two songs to audition over. But, in my mind, I didn't expect anything really. I was like, I told him straight up, I was like, do something that you've never done before. You got to really make it different. And he was like, yeah, totally. I'm super down. And he sent us these 2 songs back, and we were like, holy shit, like, this is the same guy. And then we sent him the instrumental track of Modern Disco, and he sang over that. And we were like, whoa, like, this dude is legit. Like, he you could tell he really wants the spot. And we practiced a couple times, and he's come over, and we were tracking some stuff, and it's been, like, it just fit. We knew immediately, like, this is the guy.
Mm-hmm.
So we got really fucking lucky. There's a lot of bands that don't find vocalists that quick.
Mm-hmm.
It's not an easy thing to do.
He's in Vegas too. Like, that's really good luck.
that we were kind of dreading having to work with anybody else from out of state. I mean, we'd make it work. Like, with someone like Andrew, who's a couple hours away, like, we'd make that work if that were the case. But we're really happy that, you know, Spencer's 15 minutes down the street. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So we got really lucky, and we're fortunate, and we're stoked to release these new songs, man. Like,
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what, like, specifically you think made him stand out? Was there other people you were, like, auditioning at the moment? Like, what made him the clear, like, favorite once you realized you got those demos back and you were like, this is the guy?
So we just listened to it, and we just knew, like, his melody, the song, like, the content of the song, just the whole thing. It was there. It was totally the same direction that we're going in.
Mm.
So it was just like, all right, this is it. We heard the first couple of lines, and we were like, oh fuck, okay, we've got somebody.
Yep. Yeah, and I, after you told me who it was, and I was, like, looking into his old band's, like, YouTube page, Louder Than Words, and checking out some of his covers and their music, and I get what you're saying, because, like, I feel like he had a great voice consistently, but, like, he hadn't really done anything, like, quite in this style, and he really pulled it off just, like, perfectly, as if it was, like, he had always been in this sort of more, you know, a bit more technical sound or what have you than, like, his previous band, but it still kind of has things that are, like, in his wheelhouse, like R&B vocals, like funky elements. So I can kind of see how he would, like, fit in. But I've seen I get where you're coming from. It was, like, sort of more of a new direction for him.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, he was singing a lot of pop punk stuff, and I think he truly loves that stuff. But at heart, he is a R&B singer.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? He's totally R&B, which Quin was too. And he sings Quin pretty damn close to, like, Quin on record. You know what I mean? Like, It's pretty good. Like, we were blown away. So, you know, it's not like Spencer's not perfect. There's always room for improvement, and, like, you know, we're definitely going to be working hard and trying to master the craft and having a really good time. But he's a solid pickup for us. It's like, I don't know if you guys watch sports, but it's like getting somebody like a steal out of free agency or something, or like you draft somebody that you wouldn't expect, you know, to be as good as they are, kind of thing. And that's kind of how I can relate, big picture wise.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I haven't listened to the final master yet because I had just woken up when Alex emailed it to me. But from the demo mix that I had heard, I told Alex straight up, like, I could definitely see this. Like, if you told me this was like an old school, like, Michael Jackson demo from, like, his collaborations with Van Halen, I would have no doubt believing it. Like, it's the right type of technical, but also the R&B vocals blend in so well.
It's funny, dude. Van Halen's my favorite band, so I think I love you a little bit more for saying that. So, dude, that's really cool. That's a cool analogy, man. I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I am super stoked for the direction that Spencer is going to take the band, because, like, it sounds so incredible. Thank
you, man. I really appreciate that, dude. Like, we've worked really hard, on these songs, and it feels like well, I guess it's been over a year since we've started tracking all these songs. We would have had an album or two out by now if we were still headed steady, but you know it's crazy. It just kind of gave us a little bit more time to work on all these songs individually. It's been a hell of a process with recording everything, but it's been so much fun, and it really it gave us the ability to sit down and just work on each song individually, part by part, and really piece everything together. We've been very fortunate.
Yeah, I think honestly, considering everything that's happened, you guys have still been pretty consistent with releasing music, and but it's not easy to do when you're going through singer changes and all this various stuff that has happened in the last year. And a lot of bands in your situation, like you said, they'll take a lot longer to find a singer. It can be you lose a singer and you're looking for a replacement for a long time, 2 years or whatever.
Yeah, man. I remember Emarosa went through that.
Yeah, I was gonna use that example.
Yeah, I mean, Bradley's that dude kills it too. So they were fortunate that they picked him up. But yeah, I mean, in general, the vocals are for me anyway. When I listen to a band, I think that's the determining factor is the vocals, right? So you really want to make sure that you nail it with someone that you really like, and yeah, we were very fortunate that we were able to get Spencer as quickly as we did.
Yeah, I'm honestly surprised that you guys even did that short little run with Kurt while going through all those changes. I honestly expected you to just go out as Kurt's backing band instead of going full band, and bringing on Ricky from Oranges to sing for you guys at the time.
You know what, dude? We debated that. We were going to at one point we were like, we'll just backtrack the vocals and we'll just keep playing because we just want to fucking play. We were kind of just like, fuck it, man. Just because we don't have a vocalist doesn't mean the band is dead. We're still very much passionate about everything that we do, and Ron, AJ, and myself are the reason that this band even operates. We put so much money and time and effort into it. Justin does too, don't get me wrong. Justin is just kind of Justin's a very chill member, he goes with it. The three of us kind of drive it really hard, you know what I mean? But we just wanted people to know, and we did it for ourselves. We want to play music. Quin is not a marionette. Quin was a big part of Amarionette. Don't get me wrong. He was the voice of Amarionette, but together as a unit, we made the band happen. Mm-hmm. I think Quin will tell you that over and over again too. If it weren't for us, the band wouldn't be doing anything. Mm-hmm. Not to sound selfish, it's just it is what it is. There in a band, you always have the one or two guys that really make things happen, and that I think for us that's Ron and myself and AJ.
Right.
So yeah, we're not just gonna sit around. We want to do it, so we're gonna fucking do it. We don't need anybody to. We don't need Quin.
Yeah, I think people get so fixated on the voice of the band, and in a lot of people's minds is also the face of the band, right? But really, it's when the main writers of the band or whatever are still present. I think you can still tell as a listener, but the identity of that band is still there. To go back to the Emarosa analogy, when I first started hearing songs from Versus, which was the first album with Bradley, I was yeah, this is still the same band, because obviously ER, who wrote all the music for that, most of the music for that band, he was still there and everyone else was still there, and it didn't feel like it was just a huge shift in identity just because they had lost Johnny Craig. And
yeah.
I feel this.
I love that album too, man.
Oh yeah, so good.
Yeah, Alex, you say that, but then 131 is completely a total shift.
No, but the first, okay, yeah, fair enough, but the first album with Bradley was it felt like a natural progression, I think, because everyone was still there, and it was
oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, 131 is a little different, but I think even those songs, dude, those are real. They're really good songs.
Mm.
It's just not like it sounds like a different band, but like they grew up. I don't know. That's bad. They didn't grow up. They went into a different direction.
Yeah.
That's all. Bands change. They get tired of doing the same damn thing all the time.
Mm.
I can tell you for a fucking fact, man. Like we got sick of writing the same song over and over and over again. That's why we ventured out.
Mm.
Not that we tried to make the wheel again or anything like that, but we really are trying something new.
Yeah. So speaking of trying something new, the new single, can I say the name of the single? Do you want me to hold off on that? Or
I don't care, man.
Alright, so the new song that you guys are gonna be dropping is Baddest, and I definitely feel like even though it is a continuation of what you guys have been doing on these last few singles, it also feels like something that's like the next step in the band, and I feel like that's not just because of a new singer, but it feels like something that's even more of like a step in a new direction. So tell me a little bit about like writing that song, Spencer's contribution, anything you want.
Yeah, man, that song was I felt like that was one of the strongest songs that we were going to have on the record that we were going to be doing with Quin. And because we had already released the two singles with Quin previously, I was like, we can't release this song, particularly Baddest, without without our future vocalists, I guess. Like it's a really good, it was really, really strong on its own without vocals. Like it's just a really killer instrumental track. And making it was really fun because I think that song itself, it was like a 2 or 3 month process just because we kept finding things to add in, or like the guitar solo and little parts here and there, all the percussion, the synths, like everything. It just kind of came together. It was just like it started off as this little, 2-3 part song into like, whoa, like this really came together. It's got this and all these layers, and I don't know. And then when Spencer tracked the vocals, it was just like, that's it. That's fucking it, Like it just worked.
Yeah, you mentioned, I mean, Trystan and you both mentioned Van Halen. I think the solo feels like something that could be from that era for sure. And I think that was a really cool touch because it's like, it was kind of like not what you expect from like, considering the scene, you guys are from like, progressive post-hardcore, all that stuff, and then it's like, oh shit, this is like something straight out of like the 80s in like a really cool way. So I think that was like a nice way to sort of spice up that track.
Thanks, man. I mean, I'm always going to be like a diehard like Van Halen fan. That's kind of what I grew up with. But I also loved like Circa, and Seosin is probably my favorite post-hardcore band, I guess, if you consider them post-hardcore. I always liked DGD. I always thought they were really creative. They're always, they have their sound obviously, but they're always trying new things. So yeah, I mean, I tried to make it as modern, but like a throwback at the same time. You know what I mean? Mm. So I think we captured it. I think it's I don't really think it's post-hardcore though, at all.
Mm-hmm. No, I would totally agree.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It's a completely different realm.
So, but I do think like, I don't know. I still think it appeals to that audience. Don't get me wrong. I think they will try to classify it like they already have been trying to classify modern disco and Chemistry and Charm, and even those songs, they're not really like post-hardcore at all, in my opinion. But kids in that scene are still, I think they appreciate it and they like it. I mean, you always have some haters, I guess. We haven't really gotten a lot of that though, which is cool. If anything, we've gotten a lot more of a, I really like this band and it sucks they lost Quin, but man, that Andreas track was killer. It's still very much positive towards the band. Like, okay, they're not slowing down. Like, I respect that sort of thing, which is cool. Mm-hmm. And with Quin, I don't know how you guys felt personally, but I always liked Quin's voice. I thought he was good, but I do think like no matter what, anything that we put Quin out with, like, or that we put out that had Quin's voice on it, was always kind of considered like post-hardcore no matter what. Even if Quin was singing like modern disco, people were still saying like, well, it still kind of has that like emo edge because of the singer, you know, or it still has that kind of. With Spencer, I don't think we have that anymore at all.
Yeah,
I 100% agree with you on that. That's probably the best way to describe it. And I think a lot of the positive response for like the on-dress stuff and everything that is further out of the post-hardcore realm, even though a lot of people are still classifying it as post-hardcore, is because this little niche of post-hardcore that you guys are in, this like swancore-esque sound, has just become so oversaturated with new bands, and DGD's putting out a record every year and a half. So since Tillian joined, they've put out 4 records and a live record. So it's just like there's so much of that sound coming out that a lot of people are probably appreciating the fact that one of the, I guess, heralds of that sound, because even though you guys weren't on Blue Swan, you're so closely associated with all those bands that a lot of people are like, okay, seeing a band kind of step out of that extremely comfortable zone is really admirable.
Right. I appreciate it, man. That's nice of you guys. But yeah, man, I guess just overall, we don't really. I don't think we'll be pigeonholed into that anymore, or I think. I don't know how to explain myself sometimes. I do think we will still have those fans, but we will not be pigeonholed into that genre. I think people are going to ask us like, what genre outside of this genre is Amarionette in now, or whatever we decide to call ourselves. You know what I mean? Like, I think that'll be the new thing. Like, they're like a funky swancore band. Like they're like swancore pop, or like something like that. I think is what is going to come about. But I think if we went any further in the new direction, I think it would just be pop. So, but we still want to have some of those roots. I still love all those bands. There's nothing wrong with being a post-hardcore band. Like in my opinion, I love all that stuff. I just don't. I'm just tired of writing the same stuff. That's the only reason. We just want to be doing something different.
And I think since you mentioned that, I think it was kind of the same thing with Modern Disco, where you sent me like a rough mix like a couple months before it came out, or like a few weeks, and like I was like, this is like a totally different band. And then I heard the final like master, and I'm like, okay, it sounds more like a mix, And it was kind of the same thing when I just heard the final master of Baddest. I was like, yeah, like it's still like you guys always keep like elements of where you came from and your roots while still like expanding into new directions. And I think that's really cool here, able to pull that off.
That's what we're just trying to continue to do that in different ways. Man, some of this new shit that we're writing that like we haven't showed anybody is fucking crazy. It's so cool. So cool. I can't wait to start working on those, man.
Yeah, it's good to be excited about your new stuff. And what was I gonna say? I think I also wanted to ask, since you guys have a new vocalist and kind of continuing to like expand your sound, expand your potential fan base, have you considered like some sort of way of breaking from the past with either a rebranding or anything like that?
Yes, we have discussed changing the name slightly. I think people already kind of call us Amari as it is. I think going by Amari would be really cool as opposed to Amarionette. A lot of people always ask us the backstory of Amarionette, and I think the 4 of us never really know what it really is or why that name even came about. And I think Amari is just easier. It's cooler. It's easy to work with as far as like merchandise and stuff. So if anything, that would be the slight change. It would be Amari, formerly known as Amarionette for right now. And it's not drastic. but it does represent something else. And I think with like the new stuff that we're releasing, it'll make sense to have just like a slight name change, but we can still play the old stuff if we want to, you know, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely.
So we don't want to go too crazy, but I think that's probably the most likely scenario at the moment.
Yeah, I think it fits with the music well because it's like, you know, like I said, you're keeping with like elements of your roots and where you came from, but also like expanding into like maybe a new audience, a new direction, and sort of
Right.
just sort of not having it both ways, but just like, you know, keeping one foot in where you came from and just also trying to push your horizons into something new. So I
Yeah.
think that's very fitting.
And I think too, it will separate like Spencer as Amari, Quin was in Amarionette. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
So
Yeah,
I
that'll
think-
like lessen the people who are just like trying to compare everything to the old albums because it's like, well, you know, it's technically like kind of a different group now. You know, I think that's a good way
Yeah.
to sort of distinguish it.
yeah. But dude, I mean, you have already heard. I don't think there's gonna be too much like, oh man, this guy sucks, or like, oh man, where's Quin? We haven't gotten a lot of that as is. I don't think we're gonna be getting more of that when we release this new stuff. I really think we're gonna be okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm confident in that. And I wish Quin the best with whatever musical direction he decides to go in. I don't hate the dude. It wasn't like that. You know, he made a decision and we had to make a decision, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't wish anything bad upon him.
Exactly. Yeah, I think at times it's just like it's the best decision for both parties to realize like when something is kind of run its course. You know, that can be applied to a lot of things, not just music, obviously.
Yeah, it's a business, dude.
Yeah.
You got to do what you got to do.
Mm-hmm. So, if I can back up for just a second to something like earlier in the interview, you had mentioned like potential collaborators, and one of them had been someone you've obviously toured with a lot, Kurt Travis, and he's obviously like one of the most iconic people in that whole scene. Like just incredible records from him and so many different projects. Is that something you're still thinking of pursuing, like some sort of collab with Kurt down the road or anything like that?
Yes.
All right. So, do you have any concrete plans?
That's
for
as straightforward of an answer as we can ask for.
Yeah. No, that's a good answer. Yeah. There you go.
No, we're gonna be doing at least a couple songs with Kurt. There's some songs that we recorded, like some of the initial like songs that were a little bit harder, that kind of don't make sense for what we're doing right now. That Kurt would sound fantastic over, and from what I understand, like what he's told me, he's like, dude, these songs are fucking sick. Like, I've still got the hooks. And I was like, I know you do, you idiot. Like, duh. So, yeah, man, we're stoked. We're stoked on those.
Nice. I've still got the hooks, Kurt Travis.
It was really funny, man. It was so funny when he called me and he told me that. I was like, well, yeah, like, why else would I hit you up? Because you suck? No, man. No, I love Kurt, dude. I've always liked what Kurt does.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? Yeah, I think he's just doing so many cool projects right now, and I'm glad that like he's kept active in the scene with like all the things he's been through with like his music career ups and downs. But yet he just steadily keeps releasing great stuff, and I think that's like really commendable.
Dude, if it wasn't for Kurt, we would not be able to be doing what we're doing now. So I owe Kurt a lot. I love Kurt, man. He's one of my good pals. He's a good guy.
So speaking of Kurt having helped you guys kind of get to the point that you are at and allowing you to do what you guys are doing, so is there any talks of if Amari is going to go and stay an independent band with Spencer, or if there's any sort of label talks at the time? Because I know Esk isn't necessarily a thing at this point.
There are talks, but that is all I can say. I can't.
Okay.
I can't
All right.
discuss
Yeah,
anything.
yeah, I totally understand.
Of course.
Totally understand.
Of course.
So yeah.
Well.
Sorry if I sound like a douchey band guy.
No, it's
No,
all
no.
good.
Oh no. Yeah, I mean,
It's all good. We know that that there are just certain, background things that you cannot talk about, because of contracts or whatever. So
Yeah. No, there's definitely talks, man. That's all I can really say.
Yeah, I mean that would be a great time for it with like a new rebranding and whatnot. So I wish you guys the best of that, and I'm really excited for you guys, man. Like I know, when the whole Quin thing was unfolding, there was like some uncertainty, and I'm really happy that you guys were able to find someone like so quickly and get back on your feet. Like that's really not just luck, but I think it shows like a lot of perseverance on your guys' part. But you've been able to just stay so consistent despite everything that's happened.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah, and you're one of my like go-to dudes that I always send demos to. I send them to you, and I always send them to Zach Guerin.
Nice.
Yeah, like I've got like the musician that I can go to, and then I've got my my fellow reporter. What do I call you?
Sure, yeah. I'm fine with that. I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm in Jason.
you can just
Well,
call
I'm
him
in
a fan. You
Yeah,
just call
okay,
him a
fine, that's
fan.
I
fine.
said friend. Friend.
All right, fan is fine. I don't care. But
Fanboy.
yeah, okay, fine. I will say that's probably the only time I will ever be mentioned in the same breath as Zach Guerin for anything in my life. So that's nice.
Yeah, man. No, Zach is the man, dude. If it weren't for him and Kurt, Amarionette wouldn't be shit. So, and we really aren't shit just yet. I think we can be, but anyways, yeah, man. I always send you and Zach some stuff other than like my close friends.
That's really cool. I mean, I honestly feel like really honored, but like I'm starting to like get trust with you and like a couple other people that really like value opinions of like just people that don't really have as much musical experience with their stuff. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah, man, you've got a good ear for it.
I appreciate that, and I appreciate you always coming on and just giving us the scoop on what's going on with you guys, man. Like it's been great talking to you, and I can't wait for this new album. I'm assuming that's where you guys are headed, full length. So
Either possibly an EP,
all right,
like maybe 2 EPs. I don't know.
Just to kind of get the material out there, so you're not just sitting on it.
Yeah, it's either going to be like 2 EPs and a Kurt EP, or a full length and a Kurt EP, or like some singles with Kurt, and then I don't know. The options are open.
Yeah,
but there's definitely going to be music from us. So,
all right. Well, to cap this off, how soon can we expect the baddest single?
We want to release it with a video, so hopefully within the next month and a half. But you guys already have it, so you guys can fucking jam it, I guess. So, but yeah, everybody else probably within a month and a half.
very cool.
So, yeah.
All right, well, be on the lookout for that. The baddest from the boys in Amari / possibly formerly Amarionette.
Yep.
Thank you, Nick, once again. It's been awesome talking to you, man. I really appreciate you always giving us, like I said, the heads up on how the band's doing, and I will for sure be at the first tour as Amari. We'll see what happens with that, but whenever you guys are in the area for a live show again, I will be there.
Awesome, man. Thank you.
I will also be there.
Hell yeah.
I'm usually there. I'll just also be there.
Yeah, man. You well, I always recognize that voice, so. If I don't recognize the face, dude, all you gotta do is talk, and I'll be like, oh, I know that guy. I know where that guy's from. So, no, thanks, Trystan. Appreciate it.
Oh yeah, of course. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah. All right, guys. I'll talk to you later. I gotta run, all right?
All right, man.
All right, have a good one, Nick.
You too.
All right,
Take care.
see you around, man.